What's up, guys? Thanks for watching the podcast. I truly appreciate it. I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe from you. That helps the YouTube channel grow. And I wanted to drop in and remind you one more thing. If you have any friends, family, or anyone you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, please have them call me. Get in touch with me via email at blake@blakebaker.net or on Instagram at blakebakerrealestate. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Under Contract podcast.
So it does like live calls if you wanted to. Yeah.
If I wanted to have you call in on the podcast, I could do it.
You just step it up, man. Start getting some some people calling in.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, because I tried to cheap out in the beginning with like a $300 little that camera over there, which just looks grainy and we're rolling. By the way, I don't know. I guess welcome to the Under Contract podcast, episode number 14. This is the first podcast on the new camera. A little bit of lighting. I'm excited about this. We got our Astros guy here in honor of our Houston Astros. These people won't quit calling me.
It's business, man. I had to put mine down because if not, I was gonna interrupt what we got going on right now.
So what's up, bro?
Busy, man. Just kind of going through life, man. One day at a time.
I appreciate you coming on and returning the favor. I can't wait to be more of the interviewer rather than the interviewee. So.
I'm hyped, man. I'm excited.
I appreciate it. So why don't you just introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, what you do.
Okay. My name's Fernando Chavira. Chavira. You got to, or Chavira if you can't roll the R's or whatever. I work full time as an operator, shift work. And then, so as some of you are aware, we are only scheduled 15 days out of the month, right? Unless you want to, live there and, cash in on the overtime. But, I wasn't really satisfied with that, so I ended up jumping into real estate at the beginning of the year.
But you're still working full time, right?
Oh yeah. I do both full time. Yeah. When I'm not doing real estate, I'm doing the operations thing, and sometimes I do real estate at work.
Oh yeah, I mean because you have a lot of kind of downtime where y'all are just sitting there hanging out.
When it's good, but we have days where it's bad and we're having it like work. So I mean I don't want to say we're constantly kicked back all the time. People have that idea. I mean, sometimes it's good, but sometimes it is bad, and we when we work, we're working.
Yeah.
But it does definitely allow me to real estate allows me. I mean, as long as I have a computer or even my phone, I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And the pain of it.
yeah. But yeah, that's what I do. I do both, and may shoot myself in the foot for saying this, but eventually I would like to transition out of the plant and tackle real estate full time.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme of a lot of people I know that work in the plants. I mean, the money's good and the benefits are good and everything, but the people I know working in the plants, it's like they can't hardly ever go out and do anything because they're either on call where it's like, yeah, you're off, but we can call you anytime. Yeah. Or it's like, oh, I go back to work Friday night. I can't do X, Y, and Z.
I kind of, I don't want to say I kind of figured it out, but at least from my personal experience, I mean, we can make decent money, right? And the thing is it's enough money to suppress your desire to chase anything different, right? As far as
it's enough to just satisfy you.
Yeah. So when you're not happy, right? Or you're just not satisfied with where you're at, you're just kind of there, and then you get that big paycheck. And it's like that carrot on a stick for the donkey or whatever, right? Where you're just like, oh, let me just chase another. Man, you can make 10 grand in a month if you want to drown yourself, there all the time. So with that being said, where else can you do that? It's
real estate.
Well, yeah, for sure. But when you already have a house, you have kids, you have a family,
that's the thing. It's like
a lifestyle.
Jumping into real estate is scary, dude. I have people all the time like, man, I'm thinking about doing it, and I'm like, man. Don't just look at my Instagram and think it's like that. Like, it's not what we show online.
Yeah.
And I've tried to be like more honest and open about what it actually is. And I've been thinking about making some videos accordingly, but I don't want to come across like I'm bitching, Like, I'm thankful for what I do. I'm thankful I can work from home and do this at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Dude, it's amazing. Like, I'm so thankful. But there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to say how long I can do it, but I'm learning to be more efficient in I'm realizing very rapidly that delegation is going to have to happen for me to grow.
Literally just me being fresh and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I am literally just finding out how hard it is. And I'm literally just finding out that I can't do all this by myself. Like when somebody approaches me with real estate, you're not getting me, you're getting a system. And I have people like that. I mean, like you, if I needed something, I can call you. Hey, real quick, is this the right way to do things?
Right.
Or I have a handful of friends that are in the industry that I rely on religiously. Some are within my brokerage, and then some are just friends that are in the industry. And obviously, my brokerage has been providing a lot of resources and tools and experience, right, to help me. But man, I want to do everything by myself. And you can't in this industry, and it's a learning curve, man.
In 2020, that was my first year where my business doubled from 19 to 20. And that's when I kind of started realizing, like, bro, I am waking up at, I usually wake up about 7, not too crazy early, but dude, the phone would start ringing about 8:30. Then it's like, I got to go show all these houses. I got to do these listing appointments. Then I got to do the paperwork and like sit there for a couple hours at the end of the day, just doing the paper, like the listing agreements, contracts, answering emails. And I'm real bad about that. Like I could do it. Like that's just why pay someone to do something? I could do something myself. But after a while, it's like, it becomes more of like, how do you want your quality of life to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then dude, the only way to scale is to take on employees.
Yeah.
Or like a team, I guess, in real estate.
I have a transaction coordinator. As soon as I get a contract and like right off the bat, I was like, okay, like as far as so I'm good at building relationships and talking to people. I excel in that. And I can thrive twice over on that, but when it comes time to sitting down and putting everything on paper, there are some people that thrive in that.
They don't want to talk to nobody. They just want to sit at a computer and
and just do like clerical work or whatever. That do that, like they thrive for that. So I'm not saying that my transaction coordinator is that kind of person, but her line of work is that's what she does.
She has to be to some extent.
Correct. And so what I do is once I get everything in place and I get a contract in there, I send it to her. And she hands it over, and she takes charge after that.
I have one too, Steph. I don't know if you probably don't know Dustin. Dustin Curley was my first transaction coordinator, and he took like a more managerial role, and he has like a team of TCs. And I have this girl Stephanie. She's awesome, dude. I mean, I hand her the contract. I don't have to. I mean, I'll do the negotiating, obviously, but whenever we come to an agreement, I just text her, hey, write this amendment, put this and this and this on it. That's it. Hands off. Like she sends it for signatures. She sends it to the title company, the other agent. She tracks everything and lets you know, like, hey, option period is up tomorrow. Hey, just checking in on the financing. I know the financing deadline is tomorrow. Like stuff that, I mean, dude, once you get so busy in real estate and you're doing, I mean, dude, there's months where I'm doing 8 to 10 closings. You cannot micromanage every single closing when you have that many. And I can usually tell when an agent is not, I don't want to sound shitty, but not doing very much. Because if you're in a transaction with someone and they're hitting you up daily about every little tiny detail about this transaction, it's like, how do you have time to do this? I don't know.
It's definitely man, you just gotta, and me trying to get out of the plant, right? Me trying to get out of that field and transition into this. I don't want to create another job for myself, right? So it's not to leave, there and then now go find work somewhere else. I don't want that. I'm now trying to put a system together and find a team of people that when I do my gift of meeting people and networking with people and solving their problems, and now I have a contract in place, I hand that over to the team.
And go get more.
Because, and And for those that don't know, that aren't in the industry or that, are in the industry, that's a service that I pay for out of my pocket. And we don't get that team does not get paid until we close. So there is a motive behind, we got to do this right. We got to meet all these deadlines. We got to do all this paperwork. We have to have everything in order so that we can all get paid, right? Because if not, then we don't get paid. But you got to, again, I'm trying to create a system where I don't have a team. I have a team and I don't have another job for myself. I just lock them in, pass them over. They CC me in everything. I see what's going on. If they can't get a hold of my buyer, they can't get a hold of the seller or vice versa. I pick up the phone. Hey, what's going on, man? We're trying to get a hold of this, and that.
You got to step in sometimes.
And again, so it's a fine line between I hired you as an agent. I didn't hire you and everybody else. So I still have to be the face of that relationship still, because at the end of the day, they hired me. I don't want to be that person that just, hey, sign here, got the deal, boom.
Later.
Hey, go deal with these people, and then I go find another one. No. I still want to make sure, hey, this is what's going on. So it's a balance. It's a fine line, right? So I'm just now learning that, man, and it's been stressful trying to juggle everything by myself.
I bet, dude.
And I can't. And I was beating myself up about it because, man, I should be doing more. I should be doing more. Well, I talked to my transaction coordinator, and she's like, man, you're keeping me busy. And I'm like, is that like, what are you seeing in the industry right now? Like, is what I'm doing like, not to brag or be like cocky about it, right? But I've got deals in play, right? I've got contracts that are in play, and not just, I've got like 3 or 4 that are working themselves out. And you're like, no, you're keeping me busy. Like,
you're doing good, dude.
And that's what some of the hardest things for me, to just step back and smell the roses and just take into consideration that, like, okay, in a market that's downward doing bad, you're thriving. Your business is thriving.
If you could succeed last year or this year, you can. I've never seen. I didn't even know it was possible that a market could swing from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum so quick. Yeah, it was wild. But this is I'm coming up on 7 years in the business, and I've closed hundreds of properties, but I still have that like kind of imposter syndrome where I'm like you said, like, am I doing enough? Like, you just get the idea that these other agents are doing so much more than you. And it's like and then you get the end of the year report and you're like, oh shit. All right. Like, it's a good feeling.
So I go like on HAR and I look up, people here. And when I first met you, I was like, let me look this guy up and let me look at his numbers, right? Like, how credible is this guy, right? And I was like, okay, there's some credibility there. All right, cool.
I hope so.
Yeah. And then I'll go somewhere else and I'll meet somebody else and people run their business their way, and I'll go look it up too. And I'm kind of like, okay, all right. Like, I just know where they stand as far as numbers go. So I just, yeah, I mean, it's been a blessing so far.
Yeah. If you look up like for, this is 77573, like sometimes I'll pull up the rankings and it'll show the top 25 on MLS, and you could do it by zip code, by office, multiple zip codes, cities, whatever. So I'll just kind of poke around and see who's the top dog and where. And like League City area, it's like the Monica Fosters and those.
Some people are killing it,
bro.
Dude.
They do 300 deals a year on their team. It's
like,
crazy.
holy shit, man. That's insane.
And but it's good to develop. Like, that was one piece of advice I would.
Yard guy.
Yeah, that's one piece of advice I would give a new agent is try to develop those relationships with the big experienced agents, because they're going to get a lot of listings. And if you have a good relationship, they'll know what to expect from you. Like, hey, Fernando's a hard worker. Like, he was really good at communicating. He's a nice guy. Like, that goes a long way. I mean, the bottom line is the dollar. What's my seller going to net? But it does help. And then, if you ever get into a situation where you don't quite know what to do, these top dogs, and you could just call them up and be like, hey, I got a quick question. What would you do here? Or, whatever. So it's great. Real estate's fun, weird in that we're technically all in competition.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was like more of an old school deal where it's like, you're my competition, so we can't be like cool. Nowadays, it's like, dude, I want to be a collaborative, and I've said this before on this podcast, but I don't want a bigger piece of the pie. I want to make a bigger pie.
Yep.
So if you look at it that way, I just think it's a lot healthier to look at it that way.
Man, I've got something that I don't know if this is something that has helped me or not, but I don't worry about the commission. And I don't know if it's because I'm not dependent on this business 100%.
I wish I would have learned that way earlier.
And that's why it's been something that has been some learning curve for me, or just kind of like understanding it a little different. So I still make money from the plant, right? Still got a W-2 there. So as far as anything that I do here is just extra. So when I do things, I don't even focus on the commission. I focus on the problem. So I listen to what people are telling me. I listen to why they reached out. And then I provide a solution. And I'm like, okay, these are the steps I think we can take. These are or if I don't know, you know what? I'm not familiar with this. Let me make a quick call and let me find out, because I don't want to give you the wrong information.
That's the best thing you could do.
Dude, and I don't know if that's what's helped me get business, or the fact that it's just transparent. Like, I had a transaction. I was dealing with somebody else on a house we were listing, and these people were real adamant about like, hey, we want to list at certain price, and I'm like, hey, I completely understand, and believe me, I want you to make that.
I'm dealing with that right now.
And I had to educate the individual. I was like, hey, this is what the market's doing, and just talking to other agents and me kind of watching what the market's doing, it's going down.
I mean, one way I tell people is, look, man, because of interest, people can afford like 70% of the house they used to be able to afford.
Yeah, and so some people don't understand that.
No.
And I had to sit with them, and I'm like, look, I was like, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that you're happy with this transaction, right? So if that's what you want to list, that's fine. Let's do it. I'm with it. I need an agreement between us, right? Within a week or so, if we don't get any attention on this place, it's one of two things. Your house is nice. You're in a good location, great features, the layout's nice. Why do you think we're not getting any attention? We're probably priced a little bit too high. And
what are you doing to market my property? Like, dude, it's online. Yeah. Online, it's in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't sell in the first couple weeks, like, all you're doing is sliding further down the totem pole, because you got new listings coming on.
And then you also got it too. Now it looks bad because instead of coming down, somebody told me, and just talking to different people that have been doing it, if you price it, above market, right? And then you start coming down $5,000, $10,000. Now you're going to sit 2 weeks at $5,000, or a week at $5,000-$10,000 difference. If someone really was set on this property, they would come in and put an offer at $5,000 or $10,000 less. But we're not even getting that attention. So now you got to really make it attractive. You got to come down $20,000, $25,000 to get more attention coming in. Now people will start coming in, but now you're more days on market.
Yeah, you got to boil it down to like, okay, what is your average consumer going to do? They're going to look at it and say, oh, that's nice. And then they're going to look at the price. And if it's $100,000 too high, $50,000 too high, very few of them are going to call their realtor and be like, hey, I saw this property. It's listed a little bit high, but let's just go look at it. Yeah. And if we like it, we'll shoot them an offer. In my opinion, I think 4 out of 5 people go, oh, that's way too high. And then they'll find something. Yeah. So. And
that's and especially where the market's going, you got to get ahead of that drop. You got to get ahead of that drop. You got to get ahead of that decline. And it's a sales game, man. Make the property attractive. Whether it's price, whether it's marketing, whatever you do, right, or a combination of both. Make it attractive as a whole. And then what you do is there's still people that I see that are doing multiple offer situations because they got ahead of the they got ahead of the market and where it's going. They've got a lot of attention on this property, and even sometimes getting over what they initially thought they were going to get because it was so ahead of the market. But also too is, how do you explain that? And when you put numbers behind people, or behind something, obviously I want to make the most money too, right? So I don't know, man. It's a learning process for me, really.
Yeah. It's so rewarding though, when you get those people that, they call you, hey, we want to list the house, and you're like, okay, well, I always say, did you have a price in mind?
Yeah.
When they go, I mean, whatever you think, it's like, okay, you trust me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Like the feeling when a client doesn't like fully trust you, I cannot stand that.
Yeah.
It hurts because it's like, man, I'm trying to put you in the best possible situation. I don't want you to sit here on this house for 2-3 months on market. And, they think by listing it less than where they originally thought, they don't factor in, dude, the property taxes are rolling, the insurance is rolling, the utilities, lawn guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like the faster a home sells, in my experience, the higher the price.
Yeah.
Like pretty much.
It's tricky, man. It's tricky. It's fun though. It's fun. It's fun to and it's just more, everything I take, you mentioned this, and I'm horrible at this. I take everything personal. And you mentioned it on the podcast we did, where you were like, one of the best things I can tell you, or I can't remember how it was, but you were like, don't take it personal. And even then, talking to other agents now, they're like, you're taking it personal. It's just business. And I'm like, man, I try to treat this like it was, like it's my doing, right? Like I try to put myself in their position, but also at the same time, I have a little bit of knowledge and understanding of how the industry works. So my approach would be different if I was doing it that way. So it's been hard not taking business personal. I just try to educate people. And at the end of the day, they hired me, right? So I'm not, like a pushover and just let them kind of walk all over me. I'm just say, hey, that's fine if you guys want to do that, but this is the options that we have going forward when we do this, right? So if not, then this is more than likely what's going to happen. And sometimes, like when I run comps for people and they give me that high, oh, I see this house has been on the, selling for X and X. I'm like, look at the days on market. There's a reason why it's sitting there. Look at the one that just sold recently. Boom, boom, boom. Like, I know sometimes, maybe different than how you do it or some people do it. If I have a difficult, not a difficult client, but I have a client that's set on a certain price, man, I'll run comps with them. I'm like, hey, let me show you some of the things that I'm using and how I gathered this information and how I think we can move this house. And it may be something that people don't do, which one sets me apart from the average person because I'm sitting with them, educating them on how this industry works. And then two, I have now a bunch of information, like I've gathered information to let them know, hey, this is why I think we need to do things this way.
Dude, and it's not, the thing is, just to break it to everybody, it's not rocket science. Like It's very easy. I don't want to say very easy. It depends on the market, and it depends on the neighborhood. But like this neighborhood, there's like a bunch of recent sales, a lot of the same floor plans, easy, easy to price it.
People still, like people that don't know, or people that aren't, people that don't know the industry or aren't in the industry, they're kind of like, hey, man, you picked the wrong time to get into real estate. And I'm like, funny you say that. My business is thriving, right? Like there's always going to be people needing to buy and sell, whether it's a divorce, a death in the family, upgrade.
In the words of my man Ricky Caruth, closings will happen every day until the end of time.
Yeah, literally, like
by the truckloads.
Somebody may found a deal. Somebody may be in a bind. They're getting ready to foreclose or whatever the case is. So they're giving the house away. You just got to put yourself in a position to, like, your daily reminders.
Yeah.
Blake does real estate, like little things like that. Like you got to be the guy that people,
you got to be in front of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I like to think, man, like I want to be the guy where it's like any of my friends, when they say, do you know a realtor? I want it to be like, oh, this dude Blake, go look him up on Instagram. Like I want to be number one, like that guy.
You're moving, man. You're moving and I watch your stuff online, and I watch like your consistency, dude. It's like ungodly. Like I
used to be super inconsistent. I would do like 2 or 3 posts a day and then not post again for a week. And I just got to a crossroads where I'm like, man, I need to make a change. I need to do something. I need to step up my action. I need to take action. So I was like, am I going to cold call?
I hate calling people.
Dude, I know it works.
I hate it.
And I know people have had a lot of success with it. luckily I've been able to work by referral and do well. So that's my main source is referral. And then, I mean, dude, social media is, so I look at it this way. I can make one post and touch 500 people with one post. And if I do that every single day, like where will I be in 2 years?
Man, I started pre-recording because I started doing some of the stuff too.
I saw that, man. That looks good. Your camera looks so crispy. I hope this one
That's what somebody was telling me too. And I was like, dude, your camera and your lighting. And I was like, cheap lighting from, actually I paid $100 from a friend of mine that was getting rid of that, like the O light, like a cheap little O light. And she was like, I was using it for like my eyebrow business and I just needed something different. So I just bought it and yeah, it ended up working out. Somebody's like, dude, like I've had a few people are like, dude, this video came out legit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll have to show you mine. I just got a new one. Dude, I got these, excuse me. I'm under the weather. That's why I feel stuffy. I got allergies.
You got me in here doing a podcast with you.
It's allergies. Allergies are kicking my ass, man.
Let me get my mask on.
But I got these lights for like $160 each, I think, which I thought they'd be a lot more expensive. I mean, dude, they're LED.
No, it's nice, man.
It makes a big difference. I mean, I'm looking at the monitor right now, and it looks.
I was just giving you props on your setup, man, because you got like mine's. Yeah, it's a good starter setup, is what I got, right? And,
well, dude, I like it. I mean, it's different. Like it's cool to be able to look straight ahead. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes doing this, like if you get somebody that's a real talker and you're like cocking your head like this the whole time, it's like after a while you're like.
We take a break and rotate.
Yeah, exactly.
No. It's you know what I need though is I need another camera. That way we can sit and I need two additional cameras. One in the middle, right? Getting the wide view, and then one right behind each person so that it gets the face of each person without and just kind of But I don't know how to do that, and that's another thing.
Like I was telling you, so we were going to try to do that on this podcast, but we didn't have the equipment basically. So I think it's called the A10 Pro. And I need to really talk to anybody out there that's like audio, video savvy, maybe correct me on this, or you need to come over to my place and just like show me what I need to do. But yeah, if I had a camera straight ahead that way and then straight facing you, when I talk, shows me. When you talk, it goes to you. That's all in one mixer. And I think the switch is initiated by the mic.
The voice.
Yeah. Whichever mic it's coming from. And then it's one connection into the computer. So the computer's just receiving the signal from the mixer and just recording whatever it gets.
Yeah, there's a way to do that. And I think you're right. I think it is the voice thing. There's a group of a couple. I think they're like out in the Pasadena area. Their podcast is called This and Much More. And they pick up a lot of people from the community.
Was that the one Tank was on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, them. Rolly and Evelyn, I believe, is his wife. But they're fucking moving, dude. I'm sorry. They're moving. They're picking up traction. Like I went and like stalked their TikTok because, man, a lot of this stuff you just have to copy who's doing it, copy what they're doing, find out, kind of like ask questions.
I need to hit them up because I saw, dude, their shit looks legit. It looks good.
Yeah, and I think I saw a camera in one point, like, and I don't even think, and it might be, I might be wrong, but I don't even think they were using like really like high dollar magnified equipment, right? I think they're making it work with like a budget style setup. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is doing a how to make a podcast, video. That way, just throw it on YouTube, like low budget podcast stuff. And this is what I use. This is the software and things like that. But you kind of came over and you picked up kind of like something that I was using. Right?
I didn't even know about OBS, bro. You opened my eyes to this. And now here I am 3 weeks later with a legit setup. So much better, man. Because I would take those clips out of podcasts and post to my Instagram, and they just look so grainy and shitty. So I'm excited to see how this is going to come out. I have it shooting in 4K. So
see, and I stole that idea from that software from another buddy of mine at work that does he does streaming and stuff, and then he uses OBS.
Yeah.
So literally, I got the idea from somebody and just passed it to you, and then guess what's gonna happen? Now somebody's listening to us and they'll be like, "Oh, what is OBS like?" So it's just I need to pick their brain and see how they Like we need to have like a local podcast get together.
like a mixer.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good idea, actually.
Just do like a live podcast with like everybody.
Yeah. Dude, and I've thought about doing I've been talking to this dude, Taylor Wadehofer. He's the Houston Real Producers. He owns Houston Real Producers.
Like Instagram Reels or...
He's Houston Real Producer Magazine.
Oh, okay.
So they do like a top 40 under 40 every year. I was in it in 2020.
Oh, that's the stuff you shared the other day. I think I voted for you.
Yeah. Because I got nominated again this year. But anyway, he's like a real busy guy, and he's like in the inner loop. And I was like, man, I could travel. I could come to you and do a podcast. I mean, it might be you're gonna have to give me about an hour to set up, but. Yeah. I could do that. That'd be no problem.
Well, that's what I ended up doing when I did the Gordo Niños in Kima, and I did it there at his place. And then tomorrow, same thing. Tomorrow morning, I'm supposed to meet with a guy that he does Airbnbs in Houston. And man, I just cast him a bait, man. A buddy of mine painted a mural. So I haven't really looked into the concept too much, and I obviously need to do my homework right before I sit with this individual tomorrow, but. It looks like he took like almost like a mechanic style warehouse and he enclosed the shop bay doors, right? Enclosed them and made them individual Airbnbs. And each one has a different theme. Well, my buddy drew the slabs with the pop trunk and just a nice mural on the wall. And I commented, I'm like, man, where are you drawing this at? Because I need to sit with my buddy and just get his voice and his business out there too, right? And he was telling me, oh, I'm drawing this for this guy that does Airbnbs. And I was like, plug me in, dog. Like hook me up, And, some time went by and I didn't hear from him or whatever. People get busy, right? It's no big deal. And then randomly he hit me up, I think this week, and sent me the guy's page. So what I did is I DM'd the guy just randomly. The dude's got like almost 10,000 followers. He's missing the blue check mark, but I think it's coming. And he does Airbnbs and he coaches people on how to really get freedom through Airbnbs, right? And I just this is probably not going to work. But I just DM'd the dude and I was like...
Worst they could say is no.
Yeah, legit. And I was just like, man, hey, would you be interested in sitting with me on my podcast? I can come to you. Because I know his time is valuable. So for him to come all the way to me... he's got to take time out of his day. Then he's got to drive back, right? So, and I want to sit with him. He doesn't want to sit with me, right? So how do I make it more appealing to him? So I was like, I'll take my crap with me. I'll take all my stuff with me and I'll set it up and because I sat at Gordo Niños, I know you need an extension. You need the little power blocks, little things like that. So if you do that, make sure you have everything.
You got a plan for because you want to get an hour away from home and then realize...
Oh, I forgot something.
Oh, shit, let me run to Best Buy real quick.
Yeah, and buy something. So, no, definitely like a checklist or something. But, yeah, I'm supposed to meet with this individual tomorrow. And, man, he was like, send me a link of your podcast stuff. And I just sent him my YouTube deal. And, man, if it wasn't for those little cheesy little thumbnails that I put on all my videos where it looks
Mine are so cheesy.
Dude, but it's catchy.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny to me. Yeah. So I did the more ridiculous,
the better.
Like the shot, like the thumbnail faces, like you like.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. But you know what? It's like and when I start doing these reels and stuff, and something I need to get, I need to work on because they're new to me. So I want to have the proper stance and the proper, posture, and then be super informative and correct and all that. And my sister-in-law, and dude, she's awesome, dude. Cause she feels bad saying something sometimes cause she feels like she doesn't want to come off rude or ugly or whatever, but she'll subtly mention it. And then I'm like,
hey, that was a great one, but maybe next time you should try.
I'm like, dude, your family,
constructive criticism is appreciated.
What did I do wrong? Because sometimes I don't get it and sometimes I do get it, right? So any little feedback that I can get, and people are she was like, I just feel like your shoulders were too tense and you were too trying to be too professional. People don't come to you for professionalism. People come for you because you're relatable. For
you, for your personality. That's hilarious though, because my sister-in-law did the same thing. I didn't even realize. I had my friend Matt on this podcast, and it was before I had the lighting, and it was when I had that old camera, and it was something about too much black, I guess, and the camera kept going in and out of focus. And she was like, and I didn't even see it. And she was like, hey, you might, I forgot what she said, but you might try this or like do some different lighting because the camera keeps going in and out of focus. And I looked and went back and I was like, oh shit, didn't even realize that.
You could ruin an entire podcast over some cheesy mistake,
dumb
dude.
thing, bro.
Yeah.
The other day I was shooting videos in my office for my reels. I recorded a whole video, edited a whole video, and then I realized that like when you record on my Canon through OBS, the face tracker, like when you move it, like the little square deal was on my face.
Oh shit.
After I spent like 45 minutes and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
You ever just close it and walk away from it?
I redid it. I have to post one a day.
Yeah.
I got home last night at like 6 after show. I went and showed in Santa Fe. Almost showed your listing, but it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, it happens.
Got home, it was like 6:45, and I just told my girlfriend Kelsey, I was like, I got to go upstairs. I got to crank one out real quick.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, when you do that and it's like the end of the day and you don't feel like doing it and then you do it and you post it, you're like, it builds momentum. Because then like today, doing the same thing. Like I have posted a reel every single weekday for like a month and a half now, almost 2 months.
Some of yours do, like I look at like your followers and I look and like I kind of like, take like, again, copying, right? Like, okay, I see what he's doing. I like this. Okay, I see kind of like, okay, this got a lot of views. What information is he putting out there? Like things like that. And it's like, okay, and not to say like, oh, I'm copying it word for word, because my audience and my group of people are different than yours. So, and it's been weird. I'll give you this like as something that I'm going to try to do. Maybe you can do it too. There still is a big group of people, our age, right, that are still renting, that are now kind of interested in buying a house, or now kind of like trying to get like a little information on, so I'm going to do something going forward, like, the steps on buying a house, and just put that out there, because I've had, in the last month or two, I've had 2 people reach out to me just with like curiosity, kind of like, hey, I'm thinking about where should I start? Like, and I'm like, first and foremost, and I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you could do these kind of like, at the same time, is one, talk to a lender, but then also kind of shop for a realtor. Start shopping for one where you kind of someone that you can connect with, that makes you feel comfortable and actually is listening. Right. And then ask him for his referrals. Like, hey, do you have a preferred lender? Who's really, taking care of people right now, or who's been, good to you. Right. And once you have those things in place, like, man, there's an individual that reached out to me yesterday, and I was like, dude, first and foremost, talk to a lender, because you know what your purchasing power is, your approval power, right? What you can numbers like financially afford based on the numbers, right? And he was like, okay, because if we're looking at 250, 300, but you're actually able to get 4 or 5, you have more options.
So let me give you an outside the box perspective on different videos you could make on that. So in my experience, like, here's the 5 steps you take to buy a house. People, they just scroll. Yeah. Like, you lose them quick. So what you got to do, what I would do is you could do something like, here's what your mortgage is at $250,000. Pick a listing, go through like why the payment is what it is. I did that one about like what's the mortgage on $1 million house? Like, because I was curious. I was like, well, I don't know what it is, so let me look. Then I made a video on it, and it kind of put it in perspective. Like, okay, $7,500 a month. Like, if I want $1 million house, that's what it's going to cost. So,
I remember this one. You were like,
yeah, or you have to make it hit home with them. So you could do like, pick a random house on MLS that sold 10 years ago and this year, and go back and look at both. And you could be like, this house here, the buyer purchased it for, like, for me, my house in Pasadena, bought it for $155,000, sold it for $220,000. Like, if that doesn't make a great case for home ownership, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is
you got to make people say, wow, okay, I get it, rather than I feel like I'm at school, like listening to a teacher or something.
Yeah. And that you're right. You're right. That's another thing too, is I've been trying to really not push on people, because I don't like the pushy sales tactic,
not that guy
type stuff. Like, no, I don't like that, man. So one thing I just try to educate people on is that, if you're gonna buy, the best time to buy is today. And I'm not saying that today physically, like right now. I meant like in this market. I meant like just where you're at, because worst case scenario, you just have to hold on to real estate a little bit longer to see that equity gain, come up. Because if you look at you can trend this. If you look at like a 10-year or 20-year, 40-year, graph of the prices of real estate, it's constantly, or over time, it's gone up. Does it dip? For sure. Does it kind of, does it drop a little bit? Yeah. Does it kind of flatline? Yeah. But if you look at the overall point A to point B, man, it's going up, and it's going to be a lot harder for people to be able to buy something because everything is so expensive.
Dude, I made a video yesterday about that new development coming to League City. How
do you find this out? Through the city, right? You just smirk it.
The Illuminati.
Smirk it. You don't want to give away secrets.
No, that one, actually a buddy of mine found it online and sent it to me like a couple months back. Well, I was driving down 517 yesterday and I saw the street. They were like coming out of the south side of all the new streets popped up on the 517. I'm like, oh shit, there it is.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll make a video on that. So looked it up, and I learned that 99 Grand Parkway is going to come through right north of 517. So like right there south of like West Ranch is where that development's going to be. And then right south of that development is going to be 99.
That is insane to me, dude.
And I'm telling you, you heard it here first. When 99 comes through, that is going to change the whole landscape of this area. And the 517 between like 45 and Alvin area, you will not recognize that whole area in 20 years.
They're starting to, they're building. This is something that I kind of look at too. It's like, where are they putting Chick-fil-A's?
Where are they putting Home Depots, Walmarts, Chick-fil-A's, Taco Bell's, HEBs?
These people, so if you don't know anything about anything, right? You don't know any idea on like how to like, market your real estate, or kind of just at least look for where they're building these things, because there is a team of people that do studies, not on the Chick-fil-A side, on the business side.
They're the best of the best too.
They're strategically looking at where can we put a business to thrive.
I've always heard Home Depot, because what do homeowners need?
Yeah.
Motherfreaking Home Depot.
Yep.
So if Home Depot pops up, they do their research, bro. They know where stuff's headed. But, freeways are like blood vessels.
Oh, yeah.
The bigger the freeway, the more traffic's going to be able to go down it, which, more traffic translates to developers saying, hey, there's a lot of traffic right here. We could, put this strip center in. And then, yeah. But when the Home Depot pops up, bro, it's time to scoop some land.
Yep. We'll start marketing the area or something. But it's almost like same thing, too, what they're doing with 146. They're building that, like, the highway up on top.
I'm ready for that to be done.
Oh, dude, I live right there. I can't go to Kemah without I live 5-10 minutes from Kemah, but sometimes it takes me 20-30 minutes to get there because I got to go around. I got to fight traffic.
When Marina Bay was cut off at the end, I spent 20 minutes trying to get from Clear Lake Shores to T-Bone Tom or Tookies.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, man. I had to learn the Kip Rose side of the street, Kip Street or whatever. Kip Rose, the bar. Yeah.
Kip Rose.
I had to learn the Kip side of, where to go through, but kind of like by Dairy Queen, a little closer from the post office towards the bridge, but there's back roads you can take back there.
Yeah, like Main Street and all that. Dude, have you been to Merlion, that restaurant, that Thai restaurant?
Dude, that's good. Yeah, yeah, it's good.
It's good.
It's pretty wild in there too.
I need to go get some pad Thai. Dude, so they have like a 1 to 5 spice rank, and I was like, what do you think? He was like, man, 2's kind of like where I would probably suggest you start. And it was pretty hot. So I need to go in there and get a 3 and clear all this congestion out, dude.
Man, I didn't know there was I think like a swingers thing like there after hours, like
that's what's up.
In the evening. Well, I went one day for dinner and we just
like a mixer.
And I was like, what is going on here? And like I asked the waitress, I was like, is it normally like this? And they were like, oh no, it's I don't remember if she said it was like it's swingers night or
it's an adult meeting.
Yeah, it was something along the lines like that, and I was kind of like, this is cool, but not my, swing of things. I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here.
Bro, I feel like Seabrook and like Kemah area, there's kind of a lot of that. I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel like there is.
There's like a secret.
Because it's like the bar, that's like the main bar area. Yeah. So like your nightlife people, that's where they go.
And then you have like your wild older nightlife people. I'm talking about like older, like 40s and 50s. older people that I've ran into my fair share.
They're the wildest.
Like, yeah, dude, because they got money and they got like they're established. They can literally do, and they're bored.
They either got no kids or their kids are grown and gone,
and they're bored. They're done. They're retired. They're they're just living the dream and being reckless.
Party.
Yeah, it's a good little area, man. I like that area a lot.
Yeah. My dream is to have a house on the water down there somewhere.
Yeah.
I would like probably South Shore area. Dude, there's a house for sale on like right there on the canal that goes like trying to think, like if say you left Sam's boat in a boat and you went left and then it kind of bottlenecks and there's a little canal that winds.
Yeah, it goes into like South Shore area.
There's a listing I was looking at the other day right there on that little canal section. You could drop your boat in the water and be in the bay within 5 minutes.
Man, dude, you know what? And like, if you really look at numbers, if you really put down like what it would cost to do something like that, it's not a lot of money.
Well, that's why I made that video, because I was like, okay, $7,500 a month. That just means I need to find a way
to get one X amount listing.
That or like I will always sell real estate like for obviously my main income. But if I can establish other outside sources of income, mailbox money, via rent houses, storage units, warehouses, whatever, if I can get that much coming in off of those, that'll pay my mortgage for the house. So then I can use my real estate income to supplement my lifestyle. Like if you break it down into little bits like that, it makes it seem realistic. If you just say, "Oh, it's $1 million house," it's like, I'll never afford that.
Hey, I've said this before too. If you go talk to somebody that you tell them, "Hey, I want to go buy $1 million house," and they don't know anybody or they don't have one personally, they're going to shoot that idea, and then it just discourages you, right? But if you go talk to somebody that does have one, and they'll show you, "Oh, well, how serious are you about this?" Well, okay. Well, let's look at your financial situation,
because they've done it and they know it's doable.
Dude, and you just and if again, and that's a big thing in, if I would have listened to the people that were telling me, "Oh, it's a wrong time to get into real estate," I wouldn't have been where I'm at right now.
People are always gonna do the crab in the bucket thing, dude.
And it's
same
not
thing
their
with
fault.
the podcast.
Yeah, it's not their fault. Just people don't know.
But if you're talking to older people that just don't know, like if you ask some random boomer that still reads like the TV guide instead of, you know what I mean? Just old school people that are just stuck in their ways. Yeah, I'm starting a podcast. What is that? Like, why?
What are you going to talk about?
Why? I mean, what is it? Are you going to get paid from that? Like they don't understand. Like this is fun, but this is also technically kind of work. This is marketing for me and you. I mean,
I've gained followers and stuff from the one that we did.
I've said before, I mean, the podcast is great. I love doing the podcast. But it's really not even about the podcast. It's about getting good ideas out there and clipping them out of the podcast and posting them.
Yeah.
That is, I think, because I mean, if there is a day where I just have a crazy day and I don't have time to shoot a video, I can go through this podcast and pull 4 or 5 things out.
I seen you pull it.
I mean, you got to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm trying to get a little bit better at like where now that I started doing the reels and stuff like that, I want to have a once a week like shooting day and then what I do is I just spent like a couple hours out of my day shooting content, and then I break it down to where every day I can drop, a 30-second clip on something, right? And then what I'll do is once I have that, then I can make a whole video on YouTube about certain things, or I can get your perspective on it, because you have experience and you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, right? So we have these questions. I have these questions. People gave me good feedback. Let's sit down and answer these things, right? Or if we did weekly things, we're like, let's talk weekly real estate. Where are you at? What are you seeing? Is it still out of town people coming in with cash, coming in buying, or with a lot of equity, right? Like, what's going? Like, just keeping people up to date. I don't know, man.
There's endless possibilities.
There's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like a lot of the big podcasters in LA, like the comedians and stuff, like Brennan Schaub has like 5 podcasts or something.
What's the 2 guys, Tom, whatever, the chunky guy? They're doing Sober October.
The bear
something.
The bull
and the bear.
Bear in the bear.
2 Man and a Bear or some shit.
Something like that. But it's Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer.
They are hilarious, dude. And like the little quick reels that they do, just like, and then I guess what I do? I go find the podcast.
Yep.
And I mean, and that's just, I don't know, man. I think sometimes, me personally, like, people don't give a shit about real estate all the time, right? No. Like make it fun. Make it like, what do you do? Like, that's why I go do the car shooting things where I went and I shot all those lowriders. One, it brought that market to me. So now people from that industry and that market and that community now know who Fernando is. Mm-hmm. Oh, this dude's got a podcast. This guy also does real estate, but he's out here with us shooting cars with us. Man, I met a lot of photographers and some guys that like just barely getting into it, some guys that are really good at it. And man, it's just cool to relate with those people because they're doing the same thing I want to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, man, these guys are shooting, and man, these guys can shoot. Like, some of the pictures that these guys have, and they're in the community. And it's just like, man, that's cool. Like, okay, so I've been meaning to get with them next time I get some time off and there's an event going on. Man, let's go shoot. Or like, would you sit with me? Would you sit and have a podcast with me on how you shoot? People that want to get into photography, right? Like, you know, it's just getting out there, man, and just getting in multiple industries. And that's what I enjoy doing. And if I can do that and then tie it back to my page where I subtly throw, hey, I'm in real estate, like a little subtle drop. And it's not like, hey, I'm a realtor. Hey, I'm a realtor. You know, it's just like, hey, that dude we met at that shooting thing, he does real estate. Mom wants to try to sell her house, or hey, we want to try to buy a house.
Somebody has a question.
Done, dude. Done.
Yeah.
And you're personable, you're relatable, you're in the community, you're in the hood with them, you're meeting I want to give me a lowrider, dude. I got a good idea. I want to give me a lowrider. And you know how on the back plaque they usually put their car club, right? So what I want to do is I want to get a nice lowrider, maybe a drop top, a convertible, or a hard top, whichever I can find, right? And in the back plaque, instead of like doing a car club, I'll just do real estate homie. And then I'll put my telephone number on the bottom. How cool would it be for marketing and social media, and just sets me apart from the average person if I roll up to your house with the sign and I pull up and I hit a switch or two and I jam this sign in your yard and boom. Dude, that'd be, who's doing that?
Yeah, I did that, but the more suburban white dude version where I just got my logo and I don't know if you saw it on the back of my truck by chance, but it's just, hey, I mean, if someone's behind me at a light, why not, dude? I mean, I had this, so before I bought my current truck, I have a, Kelsey's driving it now, her car's took a shit, but on the back of my little Nissan Frontier, I just got at Blake Baker Real Estate. And bro, I had multiple people just send me a picture of it from Instagram, be like, hey, I'm behind you at this stoplight. Like, it's kind of creepy.
I do that though, because if like, especially like the car scene, the car community.
Oh, it's huge.
They put like, you know, like, oh, at so and so or whatever. So sometimes
Troqueando.
Yeah. Sometimes if I can, I'll do like a selfie with their car in the background and I'll send it to them. And I was like, nice car, or just whatever, you know, like following you, or I'll follow them because I'm a car guy.
I follow all of them. If I see one, why not?
See, and and again, like doing something else that I can do, like the welding thing, right? Like, if somebody ever needed like a turbo kit or something, like, you know, something welded up, I'd have to find the time. The plant takes up a lot of my time. So it's hard for me to want to do all these crazy things, right? But eventually when I can separate myself from that and walk away, I can do multiple things at once. Mm-hmm. I would ultimately love to have a commercial property, right, with a branch of my my brokerage down here on the south side. Or if I decide to open my own, get crazy enough, right? So have that there, where we can have a Southside team, or just, hear me out, a place for agents to go work. Any agent. Just young professionals that are just stuck and don't know where to go or what to do, or just are looking for like-minded individuals that are trying to grow their real estate business.
I like that.
Because we can all eat, dude. There's some people that rather work with me, and there's some people that rather work with you. There is enough people, and you said it last time, there's enough deals for everybody.
There is, and it blows my mind that these people join these brokerages and get no support. Like, dude, my broker...
I did that the first time.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It was a horrible experience.
We have my broker, Kimberly, and then we have like a couple broker associates. This lady, Lori, at my office is, I mean, she's my go-to. Like, anytime I don't know quite... Even if I have a question, like if it's questionable, like I think I know what to do here, but let me just make sure, I call her. if I didn't have that, dude, I mean, I did a deal with one guy, I guess it was last year, and he was just at like a pay per transaction brokerage, and they had like 400 or 500 agents and one broker that it's pretty much you're just on your own, dude. And he sent me a contract that was it was one of the worst contracts ever. And it was butchered, bro. And we have really good education, and like I knew from my broker associates and my broker and the education we get that we're about to get real estate boring on these people, but in special provisions on the contract, you're not allowed to write anything that's already addressed by the contract. So like you wouldn't write, for example, option period is 10 days long because there's already a thing that says option period is 10. He wrote everything twice in that special provisions thing. And I was like, dude, like you need to call your broker or whatever. But I mean, I'm telling you, I know for a fact that this is not how it's done. And he was like, man, my broker I've never even talked to him. And I'm like, bro, that's so scary. You could get in trouble.
Yep.
And I think Kimberly ended up like kind of, I talked to her and we've ended up figuring it out. And what I originally thought was correct, but he was like, wow, man, you got a good broker over there. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I was kind of just I thought that's just how it always was, but apparently not. And it made me that much more thankful for having like such a strong, presence behind me with RE/MAX like that. And that's another thing about like being with a big name brokerage, like a RE/MAX or an EXP or I don't want to say Keller Williams, but, but I mean, yeah, you kind of have a reputation to uphold. So it's a little higher quality, higher caliber people you're dealing with.
I don't want to say, that it was Keller Williams that may or may not have done me wrong, but one of my first brokerage that I was with, I went in with and then the individual that I talked to, he hyped it up. He overhyped it up.
Overpromised and underdelivered.
And the idea was that I was gonna go. I had been picking his brain about real estate, and I kind of seen what he was doing, and I won't badmouth him or whatever, but get your license, come on, you join the team, this and that, blah blah blah. I was like, all right, cool. So I went and got my license, passed the test, and passed the test the second time. I failed a portion.
Me too.
I failed the portion of it the first time, so I ended up finally passing the test. I went and I talked to this individual. And I was like, hey man, I like what it looks like your group, I like what your group's doing just by social media, right? Which is a tricky thing because you can really make it look like you're doing something different. And I'm not saying this individual.
I think I might know who you're talking about. We'll have to talk off mic about that.
Yeah. I won't say this individual did that, but I also won't say this individual didn't do that, right? So I went in there and was like, hey, I like what your team's doing. I like what's going on. What do I need to do to join? Well, this individual told me that, there's been some attention on his team because of, producing and this and that. They're kind of putting a stop on him picking up new agents. And I'm like, okay, you have to go through the brokerage. And I'm like, all right, perfect. So I can still get in with the brokerage. I just can't join the team until I produce. So I go join the brokerage, right? And I'm promised all these resources. I'm promised all this stuff here and there. And I will say this. I work a crazy schedule with the plant. So I can't be at every training opportunity. I can't be at every class they're having. So take that into consideration when I say what I'm about to say, because I wasn't there to be present for every opportunity that was given with working full time still, right? So I go through, I get a deal put in place, and I'm new. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh man, this is it. I got a deal, right? And the first thing was, I can make this much money off of it. Hell yeah! Like, all right, how do we get this in place, right? And I pick up the phone to call my coach, and nothing. And I'm like, okay, cool.
And did you have to pay for that coach?
Yes. And they're not only paying for that coach, I'm monthly dues out of my pocket, and I'm not producing, but they're still taking their cut, right? So I'm there and, you know, okay, doesn't answer. All right. I was like, well, let me try again later. So then I try again later. Ring, 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 nothing. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe he's busy. Well, then I, you know, shoot him a text and I'm, you know, and I don't get nothing back. And
that's so shitty.
I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I ended up going up to the place, right? And I couldn't get a hold of him then. I don't know if he was there or not. I can't remember what, but I ended up getting, over the course of that whole experience with this particular brokerage, I ended up getting more help from the agents that were there that were just genuinely good people. And there's if they watched, I mean, I don't know who's going to watch this or not, if they are or not, but they were the only reason why I stuck around that long. There was a group of just genuinely good, kind-hearted people that was the only reason why I stuck around so long. But multiple times that I reach out to my coach, nothing. Multiple times that I call and nothing. It finally took me walking into his office. And I remember one instance before I walked in. They were doing a day in the top producer. And they wanted to, they let us sit with, they had a table with like 3 top producers out of our brokerage. And they sat there and they were giving us like their day by day play on what they do and how they do and how they're a top producing business, right? One of the last things I remember when they went through that little panel, this coach was, he grabs his phone and he's like, has his phone in his hand. Guys, the most important thing you can do is pick up the phone. This is your most important tool right here.
And you're like,
and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this individual, and in my head I'm like, the audacity you have to sit here and look me in my face, because we make eye contact. Because I was like, you know, I was kind of being a, you know,
I might have just said something right there.
I was being D-head about it, right? And I'm just smirking and I'm like, you got some balls on you to stand up there on top and say that is your biggest tool and you're not going to answer the phone for me. So I left it alone, right? And I was like, you know what? Probably not the best time to talk to him because I'm mad. I'm a little emotionally driven at the time. So I walk away. I come back a couple of days later and I end up talking to this individual and I was like, hey, you got a minute? And I'm like, yeah. And I closed the door, you know, and I was like, look, man, I already had one deal. I ended up getting that other deal done, right? Thankfully for the agents that were there. And ended up getting that deal done. And then I ended up talking to this individual and I was like, hey, look, I don't mean to be rude or ugly, but I just went through a whole transaction and you were zero help. I have a business to run, right? And me looking at the structure of my business, there is no benefit for my business to give you a cut in my business. There's no benefit to it. You don't answer the phone.
And if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, they want a freaking cut for everything.
Yeah, I think it's who you are. It's who you're probably thinking.
Yeah.
But you know, I was like, there's no, you guys didn't answer the phone. Just no, you provided no resource. I didn't hear from you at all. And this individual was like, hey, stop right there. Fair. I dropped the ball. I took on more agents than what I could have than what I should have in my coaching program. You know, this and that, whatever. I'll work on getting you out. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just get me out of the coaching program. Done. Well, the email sent out to the branch manager at the time. And again, I don't want to talk bad about that individual either, but they may or may not have lied to me. They pretty much said that I couldn't get out of the coaching program and I had to stay in the coaching program. And I was like, okay, now I don't know if that's true or not.
What if you move your license?
Yeah. And I don't know if that was true or not or whatever. But the thing is, at the time, is I liked the agents there so much that I didn't want to leave that office because there was good people there.
It's tough.
And this was the frustrating part about it, was that there was a lot of people that were aware of what's going on. There were a lot of people that weren't happy with what was going on, but nobody was talking about it. It was just like you had to go through it and then express a little frustration for everybody to be like, hey, we're frustrated too.
Yeah.
And it was just a shitty environment to run this is a business, bro. Like, you can't run a business like this.
A lot of realtors don't realize that they're running their own business. Like, dude, unfortunately, that's the case.
I ended up, so whenever that happened, and I talked to the individual, that the branch person, right? They were like, hey, we can't get out of the coaching program. You have to be in the coaching program. This and that, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, who do you think is a good fit for me? because I'm not asking for anything ridiculous. Pick up the phone and just be resourceful. That's all give me anybody that's going to pick up the phone.
The bare bones minimum basic.
Better yet, take my coaching program fees away and give it to the agents that help me, because they at least helped me and they did it for free. So at least let me get them a cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were like, would you give this individual another chance? And I was like, if you think this individual is going to be the right fit for me and my business, let's do it. But you give me your word that that's what it is. And they did. They gave me their word. And then, you know, I went back and I talked to this individual and I was like, hey man, look, that's fine. All I want is somebody to answer the phone. Well, and then I asked him, I was like, in 3 deals and I get out, right? Because the promise was, if you did 3 deals, you can get out of the program. I'm like, all right, cool. So I already had 1 and I had a couple more lined up. Well, when I asked him about that, he was like, nah, I didn't say that. And I'm like, huh? And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, so no 3 deal? No, that's not how it works. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I stopped doing real estate. I was like, I had 1 listing that was live, and I was just like, let me ride it out and see what happens. I wasn't looking for more business. I wasn't looking for anything else. I wasn't going to give this particular company any more of my money or hard work, because it just was not.
You feel like you're the product.
It wasn't ethical. I don't, aside from business, you don't treat people like that. Mm-mm. You don't treat people like that. You don't take advantage of people. And I'm big on that. If that's how you're going to conduct yourself and you want me to grow my business here, what else are you going to be willing to do?
Right.
Like, how else are you going to handle other situations? And I'm going to produce. Like the first deal that I had, it was just shy of 5. Who's doing that their first go around?
My first deal was 90,000.
I'm like 6 months. I'm like 4 or 5 months in, and I'm getting my first deal is right at half. Like, 5. Like, man, dude, like, hold up. Like, it just so happens that my sphere of people in that industry that I'm in with line of work, we make good money. So our purchasing power and our living standards are according to the money that we make, right? So it's like, hey, you would think that, oh, here's this new guy that's bringing in this $500,000 deal. Hey, new guy, come here.
Yeah.
Come here. Well, let's help you. From a business standpoint, if I hire somebody and this guy's thriving, oh, he just needs some fine tuning. Mm-hmm. Come here. Let me fine tune you. Hey, what are you struggling with? What's your sphere look like? Oh, these are the guys that you work with. These are your customers. Okay, this is how I would approach. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Tailor to that guy, because that guy's going to help grow my business. So let me have it's a soldier. It's an army, right? We're an army. You're a frontline soldier. Let me make sure you're good. Let me make sure you have all the resources you need. So when you go out there and you go to war, you call me.
Yeah. I got real lucky. Like, I've only had to move brokerages once, because my first brokerage went from Remax to one day I got a phone call. Hey, we're Keller Williams now. And everything changed. And it was just like, look, man, I'm sorry, but I didn't ask for this. I would have never gone looking for this on my own. So that's when I moved. It was Remax First Source at the time. Moved from there to Remax 5-star. And I already knew most of the people at 5-star, probably 80%. So it was like not like a huge culture shock or anything. Like, I knew pretty much what to expect. And it's been awesome. But yeah, that's crazy to hear. Like, I could never imagine my broker being like, you need some help? Okay, well, if you want to sign up for the coaching program, it's $400 a month, and every deal you close,
everything was money. Everything was like money.
You feel like you're the product. Like, yeah, you feel like the reason they exist is to make money off you. It's like a one-way street.
Well, I did a little bit of digging afterwards, and you know what? Like, I don't want to knock the entire company as a whole, because I didn't go through the entire company, so I can't say, hey, the entire company from head to toe was trash. Just my personal experience was trash. So it could have been just that group of individuals, right? I went back in there recently because, hey, they're still billing me for stuff. So I went
still
back.
Now?
I up until the middle of this month, I went in there and I was like, hey, how's it going? I was actually here, before they made some management changes, and there's a new individual there running the office now. And you know, I talked to this individual and I was like, hey, you know, my name's so-and-so. I was actually with you guys prior to the changes. I just want to get the monthly dues that you guys are still charging me for refunded, or just stop charging me. I'm not here. Who's in charge of this place? Like, you know, who's running this shit, you know? And so she was like, oh, I'm sorry, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, if you don't mind me asking, what happened? And I was like, I like real quick think about it. Like, do I really want to get into this? Do I really not? But you know what, dude? It wasn't their fault. It wasn't her fault, right? All she's trying to do is run the business better and fix what was wrong with it, right? Mm-hmm. So I sat with her and I told her my experience, and I told her, hey, this is the experience I had with so-and-so. This is the experience I had with this program. This is the experience. And these are the reasons why I left, because there was no integrity here. There was no integrity. What's the word? Is it integrity? What's the word when you do what's right when no one's looking?
Integrity.
Integrity. Okay. There was
character.
There was no morals. There was no values. It seemed like it was just a pyramid scheme. And I felt like I was just being taken advantage of. And had they provided the resources that I needed when I needed them, I would have been like, okay, this is worth my money, because I'm getting the resources and I'm not getting anywhere else. I didn't have that. So I had to walk away. I was like, sorry, my business cannot grow here.
And imagine if they would have just treated you right. Okay, charge me, but answer the phone.
Look what I'm doing right now.
You'd still be there. They don't understand, like, employee retention. Like, you have to make it make sense for someone to work with you or for you.
Dude, just give a shit about your people. It's like, you know, I guarantee you they didn't know anything about the individuals that were working there. Because you walk through that office sometimes and like no one would sit. There was a few group of people there that were just kind and cold, like just kind-hearted individuals that just were just outside of real estate. You're a good person. I can tell you're a good person.
Yeah.
There was those individuals. They just so happened to be agents. And those are the people that I ended up having connections with. That helped me through the process. But some of those people were also the people that were just like, yeah, we kind of heard. Yeah, we kind of heard. And I'm like, what the hell? Or why aren't we talking about this? Like, why aren't we, what are we waiting for this place to be ran down to the ground?
Yeah.
And a lot of people left, man. A lot of people left. I mean, and it is what it is. I mean, me personally, if I'm going to run a business, I want to know it's this one.
Okay.
Me personally, if I'm going to bring you onto my team, I want to know a little bit about you. Why? Because it's ammunition for me. Hey, what is your driver? What is your motive? Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? Is this the right fit for you? Oh, I just want to be the head real estate guy. I want to be the guy that everybody knows in this community, this and that, whatever. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a little research. How many people know who this guy is? What is this guy's social media presence, right? What kind of following does this guy have? Is he a personable person? What are his strong suits? Because it may be that you may want to do something, but your strong suits aren't that. Can we fix that? Are you willing to be coachable, trainable? And then what's your why? Man, I want to get out of the plant. Oh, okay, so this guy's why is he needs to get away from what he's doing. Or my family, I want to give my family a better life. I want that $1 million house on the water. So now my whole approach to how I handle you is based around that.
Yeah.
How can I help you get to your goal and your why?
When I first got in the business, I sat down with the owner of my first office, and he was kind of just showing me, like, you could pay this much a month and here's your split, or you could pay nothing a month and it's like a 50-50 and like you're on my team. And I didn't know, dude. I was like, I don't know. Do I join your team? And he was like, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but let me just tell you, like, we kind of knew each other before. And he was like, I would just tell, like, you're a hustler. Like, you don't need to join my team. Like, you don't need to give me half your money. Just go on your own. And he kind of explained it. Like, look, if you're paying, $950 a month to work here and you're on a 95-5 split, that desk fee is $950 no matter what. And then you pay your 5%. If you're on a 50-50, say you do have a month where you make $10,000, your desk fee that month was $5,000. Like, I was like, dude, I'd never thought of it that way. Because people just see that like big number every month on the first every month. Rent is this month or this much. And it's scary. Like they don't want to have anything that they're obligated to pay, where it's like, if I don't close anything, I don't pay anything. That's what a lot of people want. But they don't just sit there and do the math and say, if I close one deal a month, it makes sense. Really. And those months where you have 6-7 deals, $40,000-$50,000 months, like, bro, that's where you really can get ahead of people who are on teams. Because, and I'm not saying that like teams are bad. Like, I think that's a great way that if you're trying to get into the business and learn and get some traction and kind of, just feel it out a little bit, being on a team for a couple years, I think can be great for a lot of people. But
I don't think there's any wrong way you can get into real estate. Just get into real estate.
Just start, and you have to figure the rest out.
Yeah, and what's a good fit? Again, what are some of those quality factors that you have? Like, I can meet people. So talking to people, I don't need help. I mean, I don't want to say I don't need help, but like, I've been given a gift, I guess, to talk to people, right?
The gift of gab.
Yeah, and every like subtly, I'll just drop a real estate hint, and like, you'd be surprised just talking to people. Most people have some sort of, or know somebody that has some kind of real estate issue going on, right? Or just want to know something about it, right? So again, for as far as like the cold calling, man, I'm not doing it. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody or I've got it all figured out. It's just like, I don't want to sit and pick up the phone. I you know what I thrive on?
It makes me feel gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and people are
because I hate getting cold called.
Me too.
I hate it.
Me too.
Hello, is this Blake Baker, Realtor? That's the one I get every time.
Yeah.
Click. I don't even say anything anymore. Just hang up.
Yeah, and I can't I can't sell my personality over the phone like that fast. Not when you're getting a million calls a day.
Because people are automatically on the defense.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this Mr. So-and-so? Who's this? It's like...
And it works for some people, and some people have success, but I don't want to operate my business like that.
It's not my personality.
Which again, there's no wrong way to get into real estate, and there's no wrong way to get into it, whether it's a team. There's multiple paths you can take. I mean, and it's just one of those things where just get in. If you want to do it, get in. But also, like, what I'm learning is don't overcomplicate it. Who's the audience that I have right now?
It's a very simple business, dude. People overcomplicate this business.
I do.
To no end.
I started to, and it wasn't for one of the girls over at our brokerage, or at my brokerage now. And again, one of those just, I made this reference to her the other day. When you listen to like a nice acoustic song and it sends that little chill kind of like down your body on that first, like the vocals or the first like stroke of the guitar, and it sends that chill,
like some John Mayer type stuff.
Yeah. Just some like I like, that Soundgarden guy. Is it Chris Cornell? Maybe. I don't remember. He was like, I don't know. Anyways, his voice on an acoustic guitar, to me, just like, it's chilling. Right. And this individual did not have to help me with anything. And this was the tipping point for me, where I found an individual that I know I can count on 110%, because this individual looked at me, and I was sitting at the office frustrated after hours, and they came in to pick up their car because they went to go do something. And she's like, "What are you working on?" I was like, "I'm trying to figure this out." And I was stressing about something. And she like flat out like looked at me and she's like, "You need help?" And I like didn't want to ask for help, right? Like I just didn't, I want to do it by myself. And she looked at me and she's like, "You can get in a massive amount of legal trouble because you're being stubborn and you don't want to ask for help." And she did not have to do that. She could have been like, "Screw you, cool,
whatever,
good luck, I'm out." But it was at that moment where I was like, this is a good human. Mm-hmm. And this person obviously gives a shit about other people or just me, right? So I need to abuse this, and I need to take care of this relationship with this individual, but also like nourish it, right? Like have her in my pocket for resources later down the road, because she's got more experience than I do. And she didn't have to help me. So that says a lot about that particular individual. And a good friend of mine that brought me over, 110% right there with me. I can call him right now. "Hey, boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right. This and that." Like, it's just having that system of good people around you with that we all have the same goal.
Yep.
And like, you call me like, hey, I want to check out your listing. And I was like, oh, dang, we might do business together.
Yeah.
I was
when my buddy sent it to me, he's like, hey, what do you think about this one? And I saw Fernando Chavira. I was like,
I know this.
Let's go.
Yeah. And you know, and the more business I do, the more business I like. Again, man, my clients come to me with a problem, and I present them solutions, right? And then, when I talk to realtors, they're like, man, thank you for being so understanding. I was like, look, I don't tell them everything, right? That I keep things. Obviously, we got to like legally can't disclose everything, right? But I'm like, look, I was like, we had some issues pop up with something, and the buyer's agent was like, look, we really like, the property. We really want to move forward on it. There's just some things that, are alarming given the situation that I know. And then I had talked to my client with, I knew what room I had. And I talked to this client and I was like, hey, this other agent, I was like, look, the only thing I can tell you is gather up all your information that you guys had, on the inspection. Present me an offer. And they're like, are you sure? Like, I think she thought that we were still like, set on this price. We knew what we were doing on our side. We had a little bit of wiggle room, right? And she was like, yeah, like, and I was like, just present me your offer. Let me look at it. Let me talk it over with my client, because ultimately the situation that presented itself was going to have to be taken care of, whether it was with this person or the next person. And my job was to educate my client on the fact that, hey man, going forward,
it's going to come up again.
We're going to have to do one or two things. You're going to have to come out of pocket and fix this stuff before we put this thing on the market, or get rid of it. Or you're going to have to compensate somebody at the back end of this deal. And that way it's taken care of. And he's like, dang, I didn't think about that. And I'm like, yeah, man, like we got a problem. We need to fix it.
Well, that's whenever you get somebody that you say you have a listing and the buyer asks for a bunch of repairs, and sometimes they go overboard. But if there's like some stuff that's pretty obviously needs to be fixed, I'll just be like, dude, look, especially if it's a multiple offer situation, they'll be like, well, let's just screw them and let's go with call the other people who put in offers. And it's like, well, okay, but they're going to get an inspection too. And they're going to see this too. And there's no guarantees that this next deal will be better. And there's no guarantees that, it could be, they could ask for a lot more. You never know. So like your first offer is usually your highest. And a seller's going to do whatever they want to do, but I think that if you can make the deal happen with your first contract, that's the way to go. Period.
Man, I learned something. Recently went through a breakup, and I learned something from that. And one of the things that she mentioned to me that has stuck with me was it's easier to walk away, or what was it? Yeah, okay. It's easier to walk away from something than it is to fix it, right? But walking away from it isn't always the best solution, right? Like, now that we have something in place and there's something there, fix it. Mm-hmm. Fix it. It's like, and I like you said, we have a fish on our line, right? Let's just fix it. Let's reel this thing in and let's see what we need to do to fix it, because it's got to get fixed either way. It's got to be something that's got to be addressed. Mm-hmm. Let's just fix it with what we have right now. Like, this individual is obviously interested. They jump fast on it. They got some motivation behind them, right? Let's fix the situation, man. And that's what I was kind of like, it's going to have to get fixed either way. At least right now we have some attention on this house. Yeah. The situation that you're going through, the things that you have going on, and your motives behind it. This is a good way out right here to help you solve your problem. And yeah, man, it's just a learning curve, man. I like it. I really do like how random it is. I like how no days are the same.
That's a fact, brother.
I like dealing with people. I like dealing with, not to be rude, but like I like dealing with difficult people, because it teaches me how to work with other people that are not. I guess difficult. They're difficult in a sense because they have a certain way of conducting business, and I don't know how to handle that just yet. So I like to deal with just random groups of people and do business with just people that like aren't laid back as me, because it builds character for me. And it just, the sooner I can get these things done early in my business, I got that under my belt.
Yeah.
Like I know how to, I know how you conduct your business. I know how you like to be, like things to be in order.
I was faced with something yesterday where I'm like, it's something I've never quite done before. It's in the middle of this commercial deal I'm doing right now. And I was like getting anxiety about it. But then I just thought, you know what? Okay. What you're doing right now is, everybody.
That's mine. I don't know what it is.
Everybody, it's coming up with a P&L. And I'm like, look, everybody does this for the first time sometime. You know what I mean?
I got an inspection that's supposed to be getting done. I'm just making sure that's not it. Oh, we're good.
But I was just like, look, everybody does this for the first time at some point.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to start somewhere. So, rather than looking at it like, I don't know what I'm doing, which, dude, it's really not that hard the more I looked into it. But I just thought to myself, okay, now I get to learn how to do this. Yeah. And next time it comes up, I'll know how to do it.
That was one of the things for me too, is and again, this individual at the brokerage, she was like, why are you stressing? You're creating a stress for yourself that isn't even there. Like, I'm creating an outcome that hasn't even happened, and I'm stressing myself over the outcome that I created.
Oh, dude, I'm the best at that, bro. Like, my brain will fully simulate a situation that I like. Say if I'm like worried about something going wrong, my brain will fully simulate how it would feel if that happened.
Yeah.
Even though it's never going to happen, I will be convinced like, oh, dude, I'm done.
It's, and then like you said, the more I went through it and the more I figured it out, it wasn't even the way it was going to go. It wasn't even the way it was going to go. It went the complete easiest way. And I'm like, why did I just stress myself over this thing that like I put in my head that wasn't even going to happen?
I'll tell you this, whatever way it goes, you can bet that it's not going to be the way you thought it would go, no matter how it goes. Like what you expected is not going to be like, whether it's good or bad. It's just, life is too random and real estate is too random.
And something I'm learning that like your words, like don't haunt me, but it's like a memory of mine. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. And like, I'm like, okay, this is just business.
I know I said that, but easier said than done for me still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with more and more familiar that I get with, and I'm glad that like you are still kind of like, you said it like, man, even for me, some years in the game, it's still something that I need to learn now because, no offense, I don't want to be a seasoned vet and still be, not taking things I want to be able to like, just provide solutions without taking anything personal.
Yeah. Man, unfortunately, I'm running out of time. Oh, yeah, we're about an hour and 23 minutes.
Let's go, man.
So I appreciate you doing this, bro. One final question, and you know what I'm about to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
What would you tell 16-year-old Fernando?
Man, I would really, really ultimately with anything in life is just try new things. Try new things. Whatever your friends are doing, whatever your comfort is, whatever you're familiar with, run the opposite way. Because it's not until you go against what's different, it's not till you put yourself in other positions that you experience other things that strike a nerve with you or scratch an itch or kind of plant a little seed and you're like, what is that over there?
Stretch your reality.
Yeah, because if I just hang out with people that just look like me, people that grew up like me, people that have the same lifestyle that we had growing up, I would have never been in this position. I would have never been sitting with you, right? So if it wasn't for me surrounding myself with just other people that didn't look like me and grew up like me, I wouldn't have been able to just like I said, just constantly growing. There's other industries out there. There's other fields out there. There's other hobbies. There's other things out there that's like, oh, what is that? And it has helped me, just diversify myself and being able to deal with all people of all upbringings, colors, races, shapes, sizes, whatever, getting into things that I taught myself to weld off YouTube. Bro, like I get paid to weld. It's not big stuff, but people come to me and they pay me to weld some things for them.
Like little jobs,
like little car stuff, like little this and that, whatever. Like people come. I'm meeting people right through that. They're going in and playing with the camera and taking pictures of things. I'm meeting people in the community. I'm tapping into different fields and different stuff within the city, dude. I'm telling you, my little real estate lowrider thing is gonna work.
Do it, man. Try it.
Hilarious. And normally I wear the high white socks so I don't get sock checked, but today I didn't. I messed up. I went with the low.
I would have never even noticed.
That's it, man. I would tell younger self is venture off into uncomfortable situations a lot sooner.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done a lot faster.
I love that. Yeah. Cool, bro. Well, appreciate you doing this. It was fun. We'll have to, man, we might have to start like a quarterly just real estate check-in or something.
Yeah, what the market's doing. What are you seeing? What am I seeing? And I've got a couple realtors we can get together and sit and like.
I'd love that. I could have up to 4 on here. So
I got 2 mics. I got 2 headphones. So it might be something we can do and get together and say, hey, for our community, what are you seeing? Because there's a lot of good realtors out there. There's a lot of good realtors out there where, it's not, not everybody's for me, not everybody's for you. And I mean, here are your options for good realtors that give a shit and good realtors that are knowledgeable or just driven, right? Like that's the big thing. So we might have to sit down and do like a realtors market update, what's going on in the area. So, down.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but thank you, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks. I like your setup. It's inspiring. I got to step my game up.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I mean, dude, like I said, the lighting was that was the big thing. I think it's going to make a big difference just based off what I see here. So I'll get this up probably by tonight or something. Yeah. So I'll shoot you a link, and thank you for watching, everybody. We will talk to you later.
Peace.